What's up, Vetters? Patrick here with Vetted. Today, we're talking about this.
People didn't really want to talk about beings, and they still don't now. I've actually spoken about some of these things before, and I've been a little bit uncomfortable talking about it too, but it's been edited out.
Oh, wow.
We're live, so it can't be edited out.
So did I hear you say just a minute ago that you have seen biologics?
All right, Vetters, please hit that like button. That really helps out the videos. And of course, if you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button. All right, so what's today's video about? Well, it's about these comments coming from this doctor here who I've kind of heard of, but kind of not. I don't really know much about her, to be honest with you. Her name is Dr. Anna Brady-Estevez. And again, she's made some comments here or there, which we'll get into in just a moment. But I found this particular clip to be quite interesting. Quite interesting, considering how the term biologics gets used so much in this community, especially famously from David Grush when he was asked by Nancy Mace back in July of 2023. Very viral clip.
Do we have the bodies of the pilots who piloted this craft?
As I've stated publicly already in my News Nation interview, biologics came with some of these recoveries. Yeah.
Were they, I guess, human or non-human biologics?
Non-human, and that was the assessment of people with direct knowledge on the program I talked to that are currently still on the program.
And I've always wondered, why do they keep saying biologics, right? Why not just say alien bodies, right? Which Grush has said alien bodies before too, but that he also in a congressional setting under oath says biologics. So it was interesting to hear this doctor break this particular thing down the way that she did, right? You know, diving deep into all these wild UFO stories and eyewitness accounts. I spent a ton of time researching, editing episodes, and just freaking out over all the crazy UFO stories I hear. And I want to go visit some of these famous UFO sites in person. But a while back, I had this epiphany staring at my bank statement, where I realized I was paying for a bunch of subscriptions I barely used anymore. Stuff I'd signed up for ages ago and totally forgot about. It was like uncovering a hidden cover-up in my own finances. That's when I started using Rocket Money. And honestly, it's been a game changer ever since. The app scans all my linked accounts, finds those unwanted subscriptions in one place, and lets me handle cancellations right there with just a few taps, saving me time and stopping those sneaky charges. And the automated savings feature, it's set it and forget it. So I can finally go visit some of these UFO sites in person. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Who doesn't want that? Let Rocket Money help you reach your financial goals faster. Join at rocketmoney.com/vetted. That's rocketmoney.com/vetted. rocketmoney.com/VETTED. Or just use the link in the description as well. So look, let's jump into this clip and then we'll kind of talk a little bit more about it.
People didn't really want to talk about beings, and they still don't now. I've actually spoken about some of these things before, and I've been a little bit uncomfortable talking about it too, but it's been edited out.
Oh, wow.
We're live, so it can't be edited out.
So did I hear you say just a minute ago that you have seen biologics?
So I've seen, and the reason, one of the questions that I had was, why are these things being called biologics, right? Because that to me, it felt like, is this disrespectful, or what does it mean? Or does it mean if it's engineered? I mean, what does that mean? Why are they using the word biologics? So what I've subsequently seen is which I understand might be very close to what David had seen, is in terms of not necessarily the same place, not necessarily the same beings, but something perhaps similar, was these exotic biologics. And when I say exotic biologics, and I went with a doctor, they're not human. So the doctor said not human. There's been DNA testing, you got to have your own DNA testing to a certain extent to really know if the results, or what are being claimed. But the shared DNA testing which should be validated, is that it's 15% overlap with terrestrial DNA, 30% overlap with terrestrial DNA, which is very, very, very low. So those tests can be complex, on archaeological samples. So it's not that there aren't errors that could be introduced, including having a much, the newer terrestrial DNA being amplified up to a much, and it doesn't need to be terrestrial, it could be common type DNA. But seeing something that is not human does not make it extraterrestrial, right? So that's why, saying something like exotic biologics, it's not really stating exactly what it is, but just like if anybody's been to the Smithsonian and they've seen that exhibit where I don't know if it's wax or what it is, but there's the Neanderthals, there's the Florensis, there's these different species, human or hominid type species. We're not Florensis, we're not. So it's something that is not human, but that does not mean that it's extraterrestrial. Although there are some indications of some things that are really very, very different from human.
Shout out to Martin Willis here, doing a great job of this interview. This guy is always doing great interviews, y'all. So make sure to follow his channel. I'm going to put a link down below to this particular clip, and you'll be able to subscribe to his YouTube channel if you like. He does great interviews. So again, this is so interesting, right? Seeing alien, right? Like what are we talking about, right? She's gone to a place with the doctor and seen these things in person. Like, is it a body, right? Is it in a petri dish? Like, what exactly are we talking about here, right? Some people were speculating in the comments of this Twitter post where it kind of went viral, that was she talking about the Nazca mummies? Good God, I hope not. I hope that's not what she's talking about. But I have a feeling if that's what she was talking about, she would have said that, right? And I don't think that's what David Grush was talking about, because when David Grush testified, they hadn't even been revealed yet. They came out like a few months later in a congressional hearing. And David Grush has suggested to go look into the Nazca mummies, and his investigation was years prior to that, right? And the congressional testimony that he gave was sort of, summarizing, right? Like, go do a book report and come back and tell it to the class. Essentially, the class was Congress, right? Like, so I don't know. I don't think that they're talking about the Nazca mummy, or I don't think this woman is talking about the Nazca mummies here personally. And it's just very interesting. Like, is this real? Do we have something? But she also makes it clear to say, doesn't mean it's extraterrestrial if it's non-human. Well, then what is it? So are we talking about another intraterrestrial? It's a new term I just came up with right this second on the spot, right? So intraterrestrial, boom, I'm writing a book. Another species, not human, that, survived on Earth or grew on Earth or whatever, however we want to say, evolved on Earth. Boom, intraterrestrials, y'all. Let's go. Watch somebody's in the comments be like, people have already been saying that, Patrick, you idiot. Okay, well, I never heard of it. And I literally just came up with this because I was trying to think of another term besides extraterrestrial. But if she's saying they're not, doesn't mean they're extraterrestrial, but they're not human, right? And now you've got ultra-terrestrials, which I guess could be the same thing. It's essentially just other civilization that sort of lives underground and all that. But I like intraterrestrial better because they're, I don't know. Anyway, what are we talking about? Again, it's just like, let's see this stuff. We're left with so many questions, but it is intriguing. I will say that. And this woman, Anna Brady-Estevez, I was like, oh, I've heard that name before. Where did I just hear that? Well, on this Chris Bledsoe interview with Jesse Michaels.
There's over 200 mainstream scientists right now. That was the word I was told by Dr. Estevez, Anna Brady-Estevez.
Oh, yeah. She's been on the podcast. We're still coming out with something cool. Yeah.
But she...
American Deep Tech.
She's told me that there's at least 200 scientists that want to start working on this thing.
It's fascinating.
Yes.
So apparently Chris Bledsoe is working with her. And, y'all know how I feel about Chris Bledsoe. So, I don't know. That's a red flag for me. Clearly someone looking into this stuff. So you're going to look into other people, right? It's like, I get it. And it sounds like Jesse Michaels has something coming out with her, right? Which is also interesting. Are they going to talk about these biologics, these bodies, these whatever, this aliens? I don't know, non-human. I guess that's what they use, non-human, right? So they're trying to say it's not extraterrestrial. But if you don't know what it is, how can you say it's not extraterrestrial? And she's not saying that. She's just saying it doesn't mean it's extraterrestrial, which, okay, I get that. It's non-human. We don't know what it is, but we know it's not human. Okay, fair. Another thing she mentions at the very, very beginning of the clip is that she's talked about this before, but it got edited out. That's interesting. I wonder what shows she's talked about it on before and they edited that part out. That's why she's like, this is a live stream. We can't edit it out. Good on her. Thank you. More people should be saying this stuff in live streams. Maybe that's how these interviews should be done. Live streams. No more, pre-edited. You can take stuff out, that sort of thing. That's very interesting. And now sometimes things can be edited out for other reasons, not just, oh, we can't talk about that, so we're going to edit it out. That's not always the case. I mean, I edit stuff all the time. Like, there are many reasons why you edit things out. So, just the audio could be bad, the lighting, this, that, just doesn't fit what you're trying to make, right? Like, who knows? There's so many different reasons. But it sounds like it's happened more than once to her. So I could see in her mind, her thinking, wow, every time I mention that, they don't use it, which is why she brought it up, in this live stream. But I found this other clip of her, and there's actually quite a few of them. But this one in particular, I thought was very interesting. And I'm going to read the tweet where I saw it first. Former National Science Foundation program director made huge admission that historic advancements in laser tech came from reverse engineering of crashed UFOs. Anna Brady-Estevez says she included this information from a first-hand witness in the program in her government briefings.
So we're looking to listen to entrepreneurs and researchers and to help bring those resources to them. And, sometimes this feels very, maybe there's going to be something here wishy-washy. So something that, I'll share that I'm not primary, on having seen, this was many, many decades ago, the technology development, but something that I was both exposed to in my personal capacity and then that I also brought into the government and government briefings is if people say, well, this UAP technology, someday it's going to be worth something, right? Someday we're going to get something big out of it. Well, what does that even mean? Well, I had somebody share with me who was in these programs that there were many things that have already come out of these UAP programs, and so that includes lasers and includes semiconductors. And many people are going to get very upset and they're going to say, no, that was Bell Labs and this and that. Well, the in-depth story on that was that when fields of science would reach a certain level, what's been shared with me is that there are programs that would say, hey, look at this, which is 10 times higher performing. Wow. And they would say, this came out of a Russian sub. So I wasn't there, as primary to say, did that happen? Did that not happen? People will say, well, some of this, it started, closer to the turn of the century, or we had this then. The anomalous phenomena, as you say, Jacques Vallée has documented, this goes back historically. So this isn't a Magenta thing as the first. It isn't like a Roswell or a few years prior. This is something that there's a much longer term history. And so both in personal capacity, but then upon hearing it, when we're talking about this ambiguous, be supportive because something's going to come out of it. There were highly credible people who were respected who said, there are some examples of some very major things that have come out of crash retrieval. So without knowing, I wasn't there. So is that real? Is that not real? That was impactful enough that I led that briefing into a number of the agencies and it's taken seriously. So if there's some percentage chance that, whether it's 100% or whether you think it's a lower probability that some of these highly impactful technologies are coming from higher performing craft, be they of whatever origin, higher performing technologies. These are things that some people aren't going to take seriously. And then other people are going to say, we're looking for what that next breakthrough is. And then the state of the art today, in terms of what's possible, for us, in the United States to advance, it's a whole different realm of technologies than what would have been possible, in the 30s, 40s,
Right.
50s, 2000s. So I guess I said that in Congress, in the congressional briefing, because I feel like it can be very, very wishy-washy. Oh, maybe something's going to come out of this UFO. There are people, who I would guess would probably say that under oath, that high-performing critical technologies, which we have shared with the world, came out of these, were
Right.
accelerated and or came out of these crash retrievals.
And basically where she's saying she talked about this before was at this UAP disclosure event that took place in May of 2025. This is the same event where Lou Elizondo showed those irrigation circles, but it said it was UFO photo, right? And which, that's all anyone remembers from that event. Lou Elizondo really screwed people involved with that UAP disclosure fund on that, to be honest with you, which is why they changed their name actually afterwards. I don't even know what it's called now, but they changed their name after that, and Lou stepped down, right? They were like, dude, you ruined everything here for this. But underneath that was Anna talking about some of the same stuff that from this just clip I just showed you, right? That's what she's referring to. So I don't know. Now, again, the tweet kind of implies she's, categorically saying that. She's not. She's just saying if there's a probability that this is the case, then I'm going to include it. And I can't say I disagree with that. That's seems pretty fair and reasonable, if you're asking me. And she seems like a very of sound mind looking into this. And I like that. We need more people of sound mind looking into this and trying to look under every rock, even Chris Bledsoe rocks, right? Anything and everything. Get out there. Don't dismiss it, right? Look first. Then you can dismiss later after you look. Even if other people have dismissed it and shown things, I don't blame people for wanting to do their own investigation, their own work into it to find out. Totally legit and fair and reasonable. I'm kind of the same way, right? Like I need to learn things the hard way, my way. So I can totally relate to that. Just because somebody tells me something, I want to look for myself. I want to go find this out for myself. So I totally understand that. So anyway, links down below. Go check all this out for yourself. Let me know what you think in the comments. Is this exciting? Is it a dud? Is it nothing? I get it. There's no evidence. There's no proof. And that's something we want. I get that. But is this at least something to oh, okay. A little light in the dark. Is there something here? Is there more to this? Definitely shines a light more on the term biologics and why it's used, right? Maybe I should do a deep dive on this because it's something I've always thought about, the term biologics and why is that used? So I might have to do a deep dive on this. Anyway, we'll see you guys on the next one. Remember that as every day's a gift, y'all. Peace!
Hey Patrick, it's Paul from New Zealand again. I've been listening to a lot of these interviews lately with like Chris Bledsoe and all those sort of people, and I think moving forward we need to have a situation where extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence, and it's just very timely, I guess, that a lot of these people with extraordinary claims have books coming out lately. So I'm not sure I believe a lot of what's been said. I think telling an extraordinary story is a great way of selling books, perhaps, and yeah, that might be what's going on here. But I think for 2026, I think people need to have a bit more proof of what they're saying. Anyway, mate, love your work, keep it up, and hopefully we get the truth soon. Thanks, brother.